Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We've got a few people here. We're going to get some more in a little bit, some latecomers, but thank you to right now we muted everybody. So how this is kind of work is myself and my co-host Karen are going to kind of field questions, and you could either put your question in the chat. You'll see the bottom chat button there at the bottom of the Zoom window. If you click on that, it'll open up a little chat window on the right side. You just type your question in there. Make sure it's set to everyone. Karen and I will go through the questions, and we'll kind of field them one by one and answer them and give you guys hopefully a lot of value. Thank you all for coming. That's kind of the housekeeping part. Now I'll kind of get into a little bit of introduction for me, and then I'll hand it off to my co-host Karen, and then we'll get started. So I'm Bobby Hewitt. I run a conversion optimization agency called Creative Thirst, and we help dietary supplement companies get more sales and higher average order value. We've been doing this for over 8 years. All of our clients are direct to customer online, and how we do that is we basically have a 4-step framework that we work through, and we evaluate and make changes on the page. It can be changes to copy, changes to offers, etc. And then we validate those changes with A/B testing and make sure that they actually got you a lift. So that's my sort of little introduction. Now I'll hand it off to Karen. Karen?
Yep. Thanks, Bobby. I am Dr. Karen Vieira. I'm owner of MedWriters as well as Make a Supplement, and we work with a lot of dietary supplement owners to help them make their dreams come true. So what that looks like, our team are all scientists and doctors. So we've got PhD scientists. My background, I have a PhD in biomedical sciences. We've got other people on the team that are medical doctors, other types of PhDs, some chemists on the team as well. We've got naturopathic doctors, super useful when dealing with dietary supplements. They're my go-to when I'm stuck. And we basically help with formulations. We help with, just figuring out if something is safe, is it gonna work, the dosages, the synergies. We also help with patenting. A lot of people have questions about trying to patent, and we help a lot of our clients figure that out and navigate that, which is a tricky path. We deal with a lot of compliance issues. So starting out, a lot of small startups are totally okay with 100% being non-compliant with FDA and FTC, because otherwise you really can't say anything. But once you've grown to a certain size, then most people are looking for compliance. And I'm sure we'll have some compliance questions today. We do so many things for so many people, and I see, a few of my clients on here and people that I know, so I know that I'll have questions about everything all over the sun. We help, hey Curtis, and hey Mike. I see many other people on here that I know. So yeah, I'm super excited about the questions today. Very informal. Bobby's super awesome. He knows so much when it comes to the marketing. We write, obviously, as the people that know me know, we write a lot of content for a lot of supplement companies as well, anything from Amazon product descriptions all the way through to help me build your website from scratch, putting content on it, what goes on your bottle, what goes on your label. We've done it all. So I won't talk forever because there's so many types of projects that we do that I could talk forever, but I'm looking forward to the questions. We want it to be super informal, so feel free to unmute and ask a question. If you're comfortable with video on, turn it on. If you're not comfortable, that's totally fine too. If you see little people walking around behind me, it's because I'm at home in my office. So we're totally informal here. I see Bobby's got his Legos ready to go. So don't feel shy. If you want to turn video on or you want to unmute and ask a question, just jump in. Or if you're not comfortable with that, and I know some people have asked me, they're at work, they can just type the question in the chat box. So I turn it over to Bobby, and he's going to say the word go, and then we're going to take as many questions as we can before Bobby has a hard stop at 2.
Right, I forgot to mention that. Thanks for bringing that up, Karen.
I don't forget. All right.
Okay, so who would like to go first? Like Karen said, you can either put it in the chat or you can unmute yourself and go first. Who wants to be the brave person that's first up to bat?
I could go first. I'm not going to turn my camera on because I haven't really washed my face yet. I'm in Los Angeles and I'm still trying to wake up here. But thank you so much for having this webinar today. The question I have is, the quality of dietary supplement, it really depends on the quality of the ingredients, and it's really difficult to ask manufacturers to give us information about where are the ingredients coming from. Could you give us some information about the source just to be able to talk about it? I would like in my advertising to be able to talk about the source where the ingredients come from, but I can't get any of the manufacturers I work with to give me information on that. How should I proceed in terms of persuading them on giving me some transparency on that? Thank you.
Yeah, this one's definitely for me, Bobby. And I can't wait to answer this one because, and I'm not going to throw manufacturers as a general category under the bus. We work with some awesome manufacturers sometimes, but sometimes we work with some that are just not nice. And it's this good old boys club. And Simona, I'm sorry to tell you, you're a female and it sucks. You don't get the time of day from some of these guys because it's just a man's world for them. And I don't like to do business with those guys. I just don't. And if you need help finding some manufacturers that are not a pain in your behind, reach out to me. At the end, we'll share, or in the chat, Bobby and I will both put our email addresses and everything, or contacts. So feel free to reach out to me offline, and I'm happy to share with you some manufacturers that we've worked with. And if you want to tell me also in your email, the type of products, because obviously the manufacturers that are really good at gummies or ready to drink beverages are not necessarily the same ones that we work with on capsules or tablets and so on. So just let me know and I will let you know. If your manufacturer is not being nice, this is very, very common. And I say fire them because there's too many options for you to keep getting run over by a manufacturer. And I have a lot of clients that have gone through like 4, 5, 6 different manufacturers in their vetting process before they could find one that was reasonable to work with. And some of them really just don't want to take on small business clients because they feel like you're just some guy with an idea and you probably don't have a marketing budget and you probably are never going to hit it out of the park. And then what that means to them is they waste their time on the startup costs of getting you onboarded, and they never get that big payoff on the end, that big home run of you're selling, millions of products every month or every year to bring the work to them. So they're very apprehensive, and I understand why. There's a lot of people with good ideas, but really no marketing plans. So I get that they've been burned, but I say find one that's nice and work with them. Don't put up with them not trying to show you the quality of the ingredients. You should get a COA for every single product. They should tell you where they're buying it from, and you should be able to pick up the phone and call those actual manufacturing companies that are putting out the ingredients and talk to them yourself if you want to. That's my advice, Simona.
I will write to you, Karen. Thank you.
You're welcome.
As an alternative, from a marketing perspective, where it's sourced from and where it's encapsulated from, right? You and I and everybody else call those two different things. Now, the marketplace is getting more sophisticated, right? So they may be aware of that. But as an alternative, what you can do if you're comfortable with it in your marketing copy is just talk about where it's encapsulated. Encapsulated in the US at a good certified manufacturing process plant, et cetera. And don't kind of sidestep the sourcing question altogether.
Thank you.
Thanks for the question. Who would like to go next? It looks like Curtis is unmuted. Want to take that as a sign of you're ready or have a juicy question for us?
I'm running 2 phones here. One's a camera, one's a phone. So I was muted, but Bobby, haven't had the chance to meet you. Hi, nice to meet you. I have actually a customer of Karen's. Worked with Karen pretty intensely on a new project. Long story short, it's a new brand that we're looking to build here. Natural health product in Canada. So there's a bunch of, sorry, there's some other, are they?
Yeah, somebody's unmuted. I'll find them, unmute them. Don't worry. Keep going, Curtis.
I think we got muted. Curtis, hang on a second. We can't hear you. Looks like I think your phone is muted. There you go. That's better.
Oh, that must have been a mass mute. Okay, we're good now. So back to where I was. Basically, we're at ground zero for creating a brand. And Bobby, basically, I would want to get your take on what is your advertising stack or your recommended, say, marketing or advertising stack for these ground zero brands.
So could you be a little more specific? What like stats do you mean? You mean?
So when I say stack, I mean in 2020, you're probably looking to, all kinds of different ad providers. So Google ads, gone are the days where you're just, you set up one funnel and you try to work people through that one funnel, right? Nowadays there's Instagram, there's Facebook, just a whole bunch of different avenues that you could basically go with your brand and really bring that brand to the forefront of your target market. My question to you is, on a ground zero brand, where and how are you starting your advertising or your marketing efforts typically? Maybe, yeah.
For ground zero brand, my answer would be different. So I'm going to answer it with that frame because I think there's different levels involved, and
yeah.
Higher really play. Level can't really play at that higher level. So for ground zero level, what I always recommend is kind of following like a 1-1-1 strategy. One product, one funnel, one traffic source. And what that traffic source is kind of dependent on you or whoever's creating content for you or who the spokesperson of the company is, right? So for example, if you're not as good of a writer, but you're more of a spontaneous, I can talk off the cuff, then I'd recommend like starting with like Instagram or some video platform or Facebook. Of course, you can hire Karen to do a lot of the content and copy and get that, supported. But if you're looking to kind of build an audience, I pick one platform that you're going to stick with, because consistency is the key, and that lends to your sort of natural talents, if you will. If you think better, it's kind of writing it out and wordsmithing it, then blogging is where you want to be. If you're more of that kind of like audio or video kind of person, then you could look at podcasts, you could look at Facebook, you could look at Instagram, etc. But it's really all about kind of building up that audience in the beginning, right? Creating some sort of lead magnet or offer to get them on your list, and also to sell them the product, right? So that's done in two ways. One is kind of warming them up with that kind of strategy. Another is kind of going right for the jugular and doing a sales page or top of the funnel sales page to bring them in and advertise that. If you're doing that and you have a marketing budget, then and you're at ground zero, I would recommend kind of connecting with affiliate marketers, connecting with people that already have audiences and tapping into their audiences, rather than paying Google or Taboola or a native ad first. Does that make sense? And does that answer your question? Or like we can go so much deeper into that.
Yeah, I know, and it definitely was a broad question to begin with. So transitioning from a conversation around a brand at, say, ground zero and moving to a brand that's running full scale, full flight, which advertising avenues are you typically pointing customers towards? Are you primarily looking for Google ads, or are you working with Facebook ads? LinkedIn ads are becoming more popular today. Just your opinion, and really, where have you seen success, I guess, with the people you've worked with?
Yeah, so that's really the key. Because we don't do traffic, we just optimize the traffic that's already on the page. But of all my supplement clients who are in the $5 to $10 million revenue range a year, they're really getting traffic from a lot of different places. But there are like 2 or 3 that are common among everybody. First is native ads. So that's like Outbrain, Taboola, stuff like that. Second is search, so it's just pay-per-click. Google is the lead. Some of them also use Bing, but you could kind of either go either way there. It depends how compliant your thing is. Right? If it's not compliant, I recommend going with Bing first. If it is more of a compliant sales copy page, Google is going to get you a better quality buyer. The other traffic source that is in everybody's wheelhouse is affiliate marketing. And that's kind of a game that you kind of have to build relationships with first in order to get on their lists, or give away majority of the revenue, like give them a high CPA for every purchase. And really, it's an exchange. You're basically still paying for traffic. You're paying for the buyer. And the only way that can work is if you have a back end to sell that buyer something else. So if you're at ground zero with just one product, that's not going to work. You need to add a few other products to it to have, which create a little bit of a back end to make money off of that. But those are the top traffic sources that all of my supplement clients are using: affiliate, pay-per-click, search, and native. Few of them are
Thanks,
using,
Bobby.
but Facebook can be tricky.
Yeah. I'll let someone else go. I'm going to continue to listen, and I'll build my questions based on what I'm hearing. But
And if anyone wants to go deeper with any of these questions, feel free to reach out to Karen and I. We'll be sending a recording this afterwards, so we'll have both of our emails in there, so you can reach us for further questions, more details, whatever.
also open to feedback from the group too. I'm sure there's plenty of good resources in this group.
Absolutely. If we could hear some of you guys' responses to this as well, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, feel free to jump in if anybody has experience that they want to share based on any of the questions that you hear.
Hey, Bobby. I want to raise my hand.
Hey.
Hi. This is Rainish here from India. All right. See, I've been working with a brand in Germany and planning to start off the e-commerce channel for them because I was excited about the product, and because being the marketing guy, I thought I'll take over the brand and do an e-commerce for them. So I just want to start off with a market validation because they're from Germany. But the products are going to be shipped from Germany. How is the US market for products from Germany? And what I also found was that the shipping cost is quite exorbitant from Germany to US. It's almost, say, around $30. So have you worked with any European clients that had similar issues in the US market?
Unfortunately not. All of my clients are in the US. Most of them kind of avoid selling internationally. The ones who do deal with shipping issues, and they typically charge higher shipping fees to make up for it. But they also have problems with customs a lot of times. If a specific ingredient can't be allowed in a specific country, or just the product gets held up in customs for like the amount, the dollar amount that it's worth. And there's a lot more chargebacks, a lot more customer complaints when dealing with US to international. So that's why some guys just choose not to do it at all.
So what I was thinking was, let me start off the campaigns in European zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, and get a market validation in the e-commerce of the product. And then see, once we go to a level where I can go for compliances and issue like the US market, and then see that can be done. Is that a good approach, you feel?
Yeah, I agree with that. I'll jump in here because I have quite a few clients that are non-US clients. And what I've seen them do over the years is if they're selling in the US, a lot of times they find that it's actually cheaper to start having a manufacturing location in the US. Just based on the volume that they're starting to see or the interest. Sometimes they put up a page just to see the interest and gauge the interest before they even start pushing the product out. And a lot of times then they come to me and they say, okay, this is how we're doing in Europe right now, and we want to do this in the US. Help us find a US-based manufacturer. And I help them with that, and then they kind of shift. And it's the exact same product, the exact same packaging. Sometimes they have to change, what they're saying or whatever, or sometimes ingredients are a little bit different. But Germany is actually stricter than the US when it comes to supplement regulations. So you shouldn't have any issue coming from Germany to the US in terms of manufacturing here once you have enough volume to make it worthwhile, so that you can have a location here that will just, a lot of times I recommend a manufacturer that also has a fulfillment aspect to their business. That way it's one and done and you don't have to touch it from way over there.
And also on the shipping wise, have you found any shipper that gives you a good pricing from the European country to US? Have you worked with anything? Because you've worked, as you mentioned, you may work with some European clients.
I would have to ask them. I don't actually know who they've used for shipping. And I have some clients that are not European as well that made the switch from Asia, specifically in Australia, to the US market. So it's not, I don't have, specifically a ton that are in Germany. I've worked with different companies throughout Europe and around the world. So I'd check on it, but I don't know that I'd be able to get you an answer, but I'll see if I can.
Great. So I'll keep in touch with you. And how about the compliances as well? We need to go through, because as you mentioned, maybe the German standard is much better than the US standard. So you think the product will be in compliance with US?
Yeah, you won't have any compliance issues at all.
FDA regulation is required in that case?
FDA is a very, I'm not gonna say lax, because then that sounds like it's super easy, but FDA, they do not actually regulate dietary supplements. They just tell you that you cannot make drug claims. So drug claims are, it cures, it treats, it prevents. So when you're saying that, then they get angry because they think you should have spent $100 million on a study to prove that, like a drug does. So that's the only issue when you're dealing with the FDA.
But in dietary, where you have natural products in combination with chemicals, so that's not an issue?
Oh, so if you have synthetics and naturals together, then it depends on what the synthetics are. So if there's synthetics that are basically mimetics of naturals, then you're okay. If there's synthetics that are derived from naturals, you're also okay. But it depends. If you have synthetics that are just synthetics that have nothing to do with any natural compounds, then we'll have to revisit that and see the status of the synthetics that you're putting in there, and then that there might have to be some FDA paperwork then for that.
Thank you. So maybe next, my marketing question will come after some time. Let me go hear the other people once they have questions.
Okay, thanks.
I have a question. This is Kurt. How are subscriptions doing now in the supplement market? Is that trend growing, stagnating, or staying the same?
I'm not sure about the trend rate, but subscriptions and recurring revenue are part of what makes supplements attractive and part of what makes the businesses work. Having people on recurring really helps with cash flow, and it really kind of helps build the business, right? It's different than another product where you have to keep selling them. This time, you sell them once and you get them on recurring, and typically recurring lasts about 2.5 to 3 months. On the really positive side, I've seen that stretch to about 4 months. So I think recurring is a very important part of the business. And if you're not sort of taking advantage of it, I think you've got a whole bunch of revenue that you're just not open up to.
And I'll jump on there and say this too, and I don't know the actual metrics right now, but I've seen that it really depends, amidst this pandemic, my clients that are doing very well, way better than normal, the demographic of their customers is a higher income demographic than the customers that are lower, not low income necessarily, but like lower mid income, I guess. Those tend to be in the group that may be unemployed and maybe cutting costs and things like that right now. So it really depends on your product and who it appeals to. And then that will really determine how subscriptions are doing currently, I think.
Thank you. I was just going to mention too, from that last discussion about shipping from Germany, we ship a fair amount to Europe. If it's under £1, it's under $8. If you just need to find a consolidator. that's bringing it into our country and dropping it into the national post system. So thought I'd mention that. Thank you for your answers.
Thanks, Kurt. That was super helpful. I'm sure the last guy that asked might want to send you a direct chat asking you some more details.
Yeah, $8 is fantastic.
You know who's developed that is the multi-level world. Every time they open up a new market, in Utah, for instance, there's a lot of consolidators because as a multi-level group wants to get into another country before they really get into the regulation side of it, they'll start with these, get a foot in the door using a consolidator to drop into the post. Then when they hit a certain volume, then they get ready and get the regulation set up. So they're cheap.
Cool. Thanks.
Who would like to go next?
If no one's going to has a question, I have one more. I'm on the butt in. Bobby, when you're advertising a supplement, what times return should you expect to get? Or are you losing money the first order, or are you trying to get 3x? Is there a general return for marketing supplements that you've seen?
Yeah, it's a hard question because it really depends on the traffic source, depends on the offer, depends on the copy, right? So all of those variables can widely swing across the board. Typically, what you want to try to do is break even on your funnel so that you can make the money on the back end after the sale in your email follow-up sequence. So a lot of supplement sellers will go all the way to zero and sometimes negative on that front end funnel in order to make the money on the back end. That's why they can afford to pay higher cost per acquisition costs and get their offer wider and in front of more people because they have the back end to it. Now, if you don't have a back end, but just some numbers that you can kind of use as benchmarks. Typically, an average order value of a front end funnel, if it's in the $200 range, you're doing fantastic. But I have seen average order values as low as like $50, $55. So on those cases where it's in the say $50 to $100 range on the average order value, this includes everything they bought in the funnel the first time they're there. They're making up the rest in the back. On the ones that are 200 average order value right from the get-go, those guys are closer to breaking even. I don't think there's anyone who's, well, that's not true. Some people are breaking even and making money on the sale, but it's very, very rare occurrence. A lot of the times you have to approach that zero line or go in the negative to get there. And that's, a game between conversion rate, the right type of traffic, and average order value. Those are your three variables, like I mentioned.
What's the sweet spot of a price for a supplement per volume?
So for one bottle,
Yeah.
to make it really work for one bottle, it's got to be at least $39. Anything below that is a lot harder to make it work. Now, for that price point, you also need much stronger copy. But I have had clients who have a free end, like a free front end. So they're just doing a free plus shipping bottle on the front. So they're making it up again on the back end and losing a lot more on the front. So it really kind of depends on how risk averse you are and how much of a bankroll or how much of a runway you have to play with as far as paying for traffic and how long you can afford to wait to get the money back.
So I have one last question, and I'll quit hogging the communication channel here. When it comes to we do a lot of free offers, for a subscription. What do you feel is the right number for shipping? Free product, you pay shipping and handling. What is the sweet spot of how much to charge? We bounced around $5 to $6. Is that typical? Or
Typically it's $4.95. However, I've done a lot of testing around the shipping price on a free plus shipping offer, and where it landed was $9.95 for US. Seems to be the sweet spot. So I tested a whole bunch of different prices, all the way down to 99 cents, all the way up to $9.95, all the way to $7.95, like just a full gamut. And what I found was that the people who were willing to pay the $4.95 and the people who were willing to pay the $9.95, there wasn't much difference between them when it came to retention or really conversion. You got a little bit more of a conversion boost the lower you went with the price point, but those people didn't take the upsells as well as the $9.95 people, and they didn't stick as long on retention as the $9.95 people. So sweet spot for free plus shipping for US, I'd say, is $9.95. And if you wanted to even push away the international, you can go higher just for international buyers if you wanted to.
I know I said I only had one more question, but let me just quickly add one more. For the $9.95, what value of the product are you selling?
That's a $39 bottle.
Okay, thanks. All right, I promise I'll be quiet for a while.
No, that's fine. If you got more, let's hear.
Yeah, bring it on. That's what we're here for. And that was super helpful, Bobby. I haven't heard that before. Thanks.
Bobby, there's a question for you on the marketing side. So right now, what the funnel I'm building is trying to drive traffic through native ads with the European customers and take them to a front, a landing page, and do one upsell at this moment to test the market with a minimum budget of say around $100 per day for the next 10 days. So is that a good approach to test the market?
Absolutely. I mean, you're probably not going to break even by just putting one up, but you're just getting a feel for what the response rate is. I'd say that's a great minimum viable funnel.
And what is the native ad that you suggest would be a good platform? Because right now I'm looking at MGID, or you suggest like Outbrain or Taboola?
I'm not an expert on the traffic side, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure I can guide you in the right direction there. I think it kind of really depends on the market you're going after, right? And is the market to that traffic source, is there a match there? Like, do they have the demographics? Do they have the people you're looking for, either at the psychographic level or the demographic level? Like, one thing to do is to look and see who else advertising there. Like, if your competitors are advertising there, it's probably the right place.
So I'm using like a spying tool, something like Anthrax and something like that to check on those competitors. So that is one approach I'm taking. And but what is your experience with native advertising? How does it work for you with your clients?
Sometimes it works. Sometimes it's a complete bomb, honestly, because it's a lot harder to convert, because those are the cold of the coldest of the cold, right? So if one thing you can do and test in your minimum viable funnel is driving people to a pre-sale page versus driving people directly to your sales page. So the pre-sale page would warm them up a little bit because they're the coldest of the cold.
That's what I'm trying to do, is like from do a pre-sale page and from there move to a landing page. So pre-sale pages want to be the once the ad is clicked on native ads, that's where it's going.
Yeah, pre-sales are great for really, really cold audiences. They're also great for traffic sources that need a little bit more compliance that you kind of want to work around. It does add another click, another layer, another step, and a little bit more friction, but a lot of times supplement sales is counterintuitive. A lot of times adding friction is better than reducing friction, where it's different than an e-commerce sale. So if that doesn't work for you, then I'd say still test it again, but with a different traffic source, because it might just be that the copy's not strong enough for that cold of a traffic source. Mm-hmm. So you're testing the right way with the pre-sale page, but at the end of the day, it really comes down to the copy and the offer. So one of those could be broken without looking at the funnel. I'm not sure. And if that is the case, to validate that, go with a little bit warmer of a traffic source. You can go with a pay-per-click ad. That's probably the easiest, warmest traffic source you can get. As long as that pre-sale page is squeaky clean, it should work.
Mm-hmm.
The other route is, like I said earlier, tapping into somebody's list, going a JV or an affiliate route.
Question. Working with two different brands, one is a little more established, and they've got a functioning funnel and plenty of purchases per day to test, and plenty of traffic to test things. And then the other one's going to be from scratch here in a week. Nothing at all. Both single product, both priced at like $70, $80. Although the established product has like smaller offer options where you can buy like the half size or a quarter size, for $40 or $20. I'm not sure actually it's necessarily the best pricing strategy to have so many options there, but I guess where I was hoping to get some thoughts from you is around initial landing page offers. On both of them, we're charging shipping. So free shipping always does really well with existing audiences. Like that's definitely an easy sale driver that doesn't tarnish the brand or devalue the brand by giving the free shipping, and that always is a bump. But as far as colder traffic coming to landing pages, what have you seen as effective like tripwire offers or other things besides just simple discounting?
So you want to actually definitely do more than one offer on the sales page. Typically what works is 3 offers. I've seen as much as 6 offers, but with a caveat. So 3 offers, let's say it's a 1 bottle, a 3 bottle, and a 6 bottle, but then you have the same options to get a 1 on subscription, a 3 on subscription, or 6 on subscription. So it's really 3 offers, and you're choosing between, you want all these at one time, or do you want these on subscription?
Oh, so just straight up offering the multiple bottles on the landing page as the purchase option.
Yeah, that's the better way to go, because what you're going to do is you're naturally going to drive people towards that middle option, which is going to raise up your AOV.
Yeah, that's good.
That's the way to go. Now doing that. Also, you want to think about the price points as well, right? So if your bottom offer is, let's say, in the under 50, right, a 1 bottle offer, you don't want to go like above 200 on the 6 bottles. So you want to go like 120, 117, 199 is the max I would go on the bigger package. And then that, just so that you're pushing people again towards that middle option. Say, well, I can get the 1 bottle, but I'm going to pay, full price at 49, or I can get a 10% discount and go towards the 3 bottles, or I can get the 20% discount and go for the 6 bottles. So you want to like tier it so that the more they buy, the better deal they get. And then if you did want to offer a subscription option, then you take another 10% off the top of everything. So you could still get the 1 bottle at a 10% discount, but you got to sign up for continuity.
Okay, so on the offers, when you're talking about that, so the quantity change, I guess, is one option, just to you price anchor people that like, oh, I'm not going to choose the 3 bottle option, but you're actually saying you'd recommend bundling it, where it's like you're buying a 3 bottle bundle and getting a discount by buying the 3 bottles.
Yep, exactly. Now, since you also have the sort of the half bottle option, that's something you can play with probably quite well that a lot of people can't. Right. So one of the pillars that we work is funnel economics, where we look at the product and how it factors into the conversion rate. So because you have these unique sort of half bottle, right? It's a half bottle kind of quantity. You can easily get away with kind of bundling that into the middle of the higher option. So you could even do like a 3 bottle option, and you get 1 half bottle for free. However the economics work. So I think you have a little more leeway than the average offer would. And again, it kind of depends how the economics work, how the cost of goods are, and all that. but without kind of diving into the numbers, I think you have a lot to explore with that half bottle than you realize.
Yeah, the established brand, the one with these 3 options, has a lot of leeway because the cost isn't particularly high, and it's actually in blister packs, and they're very light. So like the shipping is, there's just like adding bonuses to pack it to is like not costs nothing in the overall scheme of things. So like bonusing people a free 2-pack when they do an order or whatever is easy, is certainly a thing we can do very easily.
Yeah, and it's very high perceived value as well. So that's why I think it'll work like gangbusters.
And then what do you, could you maybe talk to like a couple of things that you just think are the most important things on a cold traffic landing page? We've got like a founder video, but that's on the homepage, not on the landing page. Could you talk to, like, for driving Facebook traffic, say to, cold Facebook prospecting traffic to a landing page? Could you talk about some of like the maybe critical pieces there that and ordering of them, if you have just some kind of thoughts around what you think is most effective?
Yeah, absolutely. So for Facebook, there's 2 kind of ways to do it. One is a very upfront offer where you're leading with the offer itself. So your ad in that case could be like 50% off or discount % off of a bottle. So they're clicking on the ad, they know they're landing on a supplement page. That's what I mean by more of an upfront offer. In that case, you want to lead with sort of the science. You could lead with the offer and then immediately go into the science, your unique mechanism, how it works, why it works. Then go into the guarantee, the testimonial, and then finally the offer again repeated on the bottom. You could do your stack of 3, the 1, 3, 6, and at the very top of the page you could just kind of do the hero shot of I wouldn't do 1 bottle. I would do the large package, whatever. Let's say you go with a 6. I put the 6 up front just to sort of frame them, get their mind thinking to buy 6. On the other side of the coin, if you're doing more of sort of like a covert sales page that is a little bit tricky with Facebook, but you could get it to work because of compliance issues of Facebook itself. You have to water down the copy and not be so.
That's what we've been watering down. We have I think it's actually from your website, followed kind of all the disclaimer stuff at the bottom, the additional stuff beyond what we do on the main website. And yeah, we get ads rejected, and so far every appeal eventually come around and gotten things going again. It's not the greatest. Luckily, we've got some other traffic sources that are performing better, but I'm interested in trying to get it, functioning on a consistent basis, because definitely there's buyers there.
Yeah, and a lot of times it comes down to like wording on the page, because they don't really tell you what they don't like about it. If you send me the link, I'll be happy to take a look at it. But for that type of page, you want to do the traditional lead copy, bringing them in with some hook or some emotional story. We got to be careful with emotional on Facebook, and then leading into the discovery before you actually revealing the product on the bottom. More of a traditional long form landing page kind of style. This is why
I definitely recommend making sure you don't skip the emotion when part of it, because that's very important in the sales copy when you're dealing with super cold leads.
Yeah, and this kind of goes back to an earlier question of, starting from ground zero, what traffic source? I wouldn't think of Facebook first, just because of all these compliance issues.
Yeah, we've got some other like individual websites with the established brand that are doing a good job generating traffic, but also don't want to be dependent on those kind of individual things. And so definitely was on my list to explore Taboola and Outbrain, which I have not done yet, but it sounds like in your experience, like those have been solid traffic sources, and people are willing. To me personally, it always seems like, I don't really trust the stuff that's down here, but obviously people do, and they click it.
Yeah, I think you have to kind of juice up the emotion more on that traffic source, and you're allowed to on those traffic sources too. So that's another reason why it works. On the established brand, is the product similar? Like, could you use the established brand house email list as?
Oh, we're going to. Yeah, it's actually there's similar supplements, and but the established is men's, the new one's going to be a women's, and 100% going to springboard off of that. email list. We got, yeah, 100% going to do that.
Yeah, you'll shake out a lot of the issues for using your own traffic source, internal email traffic source as your first step, like the minimum viable kind of, how did this do? Not only will give you like a benchmark to say, okay, can we or can't we scale this, but it'll also reveal, certain issues that maybe it's an offer problem, and it's better to find out there than it is to find out on paid traffic.
So sorry, I'm just going to keep going with questions. One more maybe here. I'm sure there'll be more. But okay, so one of the things I've found kind of in working with both of these is that there's good information on the homepage. You got a kind of standard hero image. Some of the social proof of other places is mentioned, a founder video or a brand video that talks about it, a little more info, and then and then the product itself. They do a straight buy because both of these are single products, so they definitely got the product or the product option, so you can straight buy. So okay, that makes sense. That's a good homepage, I think roughly, and then there's the product page. You go to the product page details, the standard Shopify. You've got your buy area up top. Some reviews and rest of the product information. Okay, so that's like there's got the solid product page with info. That all works. Like those are kind of all properly set up the way you do that. But then when I get to doing like, okay, well, if I want a landing page for cold traffic, I mean, I've tried sending cold traffic to home pages before, and like it just doesn't convert, right? Like you've got to take them through the thing in the landing page. But so would you ideally, well, I don't know, like ideally, I guess for me, I'd rather not have to build a whole nother landing page of unique stuff. I'd rather pull, and I don't know if this is possible, can I pull from the home page and the product page and just basically put it together in an order that like makes sense with minimal additional work to build out a good landing page? Or is it, hey, really, it's got to be completely unique and written from the ground up to accomplish the, kind of the storytelling and take them through the process to buy?
Well, for cold traffic, like Carrie mentioned, it's important to hit that emotional button. Right. So if you were pulling pieces together, I think that's a viable strategy, but you also want to, I would pull pieces together in that case, but then add like a really strong lead. That's where the emotional copy is. As long as that lead kind of transitions into the next step on the page that's pulled together, that's a decent minimum viable sort of long form sales page. Right? It's probably not the best, but it's good enough to test out.
But you want to make sure that it's unique. So one of the things that we do with a project like that, when our clients come and say, hey, can you write this landing page? And here we've got this page and this other page. What we'll do is we will pull those pieces, but we will rewrite them so that when we run it through Copyscape, and if you don't have Copyscape, I super recommend it because Google is going to penalize you if your site is exactly copied from your other site. So you want it to be unique, and if it can pass a Copyscape test, then you're good to go. So that means sometimes you just have to tweak words here and there and move the order of things around and whatever, but it will take some rewriting those sections. So it's not just pulling them in exactly as they are. You could totally do that, but I don't recommend it. But yeah, so generally we'll craft a story around those pieces we're given. If we're told, hey, pull some of the information about the ingredients from here, pull some information about the company from here, the founder and the story as to why they created it, and we will do that, but we'll still create it with that upfront emotion. Are you struggling with X? Are you tired of Y? Are you dealing with Z? And, here's how people feel in that situation. And then we start pulling those pieces together, but in a rewritten form.
Do you have any example pages maybe that you could send out that you just think are like, this is a really solid landing page? Because obviously those are not easy to find because they're not linked from the websites usually. Do you have any that you're like, wow, this, or either we did it or just it's an example of like, I think this is just an awesome one to look at? So
what usually happens with my projects, I'm sad to admit, is that we're super busy or clients are super busy and they come to us like, yay, can you do this for us? And, we want it yesterday. And we crank it out for them and then they disappear off into the ether. And we're busy too because we have 10 other clients that are like, hey, can you do this yesterday? So we don't actually chase them down to see where they posted it.
I could send you over one that I know is working on Facebook.
Okay.
That'd be awesome.
A place where you want to be a little careful of that emotion, because you don't. What Facebook doesn't want is for people to click on a Facebook ad and feel bad, right? Feel bad about themselves. But that, negative emotions sell, and especially in the supplement space. So it's a bit of a wordsmithing game.
Yeah.
But if you reach out to me, I'll shoot you a link. They're not, but I know them just through the industry, and I know their offer is scaling on Facebook.
Yeah. What do you feel about video, the video component on the sales page, the landing page?
Oh, video is fantastic. I mean, I know supplement companies that are crushing it just with a video alone, like a video sales page.
Right. And so, like, as far as, obviously you can do one that's custom, like a video sales letter that's that completely done custom for that. What about pulling from other assets that you've got regarding like a 2-minute brand video, or a montage of testimonials, like several, testimonials tied together? Can those kind of assets work or are helpful? Or like, hey, if you're going to do video, it's better to just go ahead and really think about what you want the VSL to say?
Well, they're kind of two different animals, right? So the benefit of a VSL, video sales letter, is that it puts the blinders on. There's no scrolling. There's no, like, you have to consume the story in this order. And that's part of why the magic works. Using the video like you're saying, I don't think that's bad. I think, doing a proof stack of a whole bunch of testimonials is actually a really good thing. As long as you're putting it strategically in the right spot on the page, and not just kind of randomly throwing it up there, it could work as long as it sort of reads as a full cohesive story. But just to have a video for a video's sake, it's probably not worth it. Like if you're using video strategically, to say like you're in a space like the weight loss space, which is the trust is not there, belief is not there, it's very low. Video testimonial is way more powerful, than a before and after picture, because everyone's going to think it's Photoshop and fake.
Yeah, but I think definitely taking the time to put together a video sales letter rather than necessarily just throwing a bunch of existing videos together and it's not cohesive. But I've seen some of my clients pull pieces of things they already have and put that into the video sales letter. So rather than creating from scratch, they're actually giving their video editor pieces, and whether they're doing an animated video or an actual recorded video and whatever it takes to fill in the gaps and make it cohesive, you've got to do that rather than it just feeling disjointed.
Yeah, if you're going the VSL route, you're probably better off starting from a blank slate.
Bobby, just wondering, while we are on the call about the sales page while we're discussing, can we run through a review of one of the sales page which I can share with you? Can we do that in this call? Like, it's not mine, it's a competitor's page which I've been looking at, and probably.
I don't think we have that in this call. We are coming close to the top of the hour. I do have a hard stop.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
So Bobby will send out the recording, as well as he will include his email and my email in there. And, you can always kind of reach out to him. Y'all can have a conversation offline.
Yeah, I'm happy to. Looks like Eric might have a question.
Hi, Eric. You're muted.
He's having some audio trouble.
Oh, audio trouble. Crap.
Okay. Sorry, Eric.
Do you want to type your question in the chat? Or just punch the computer and then the audio fixes. Just saying.
Oh, I see. Sorry about that. Sure, absolutely. There you go.
Perfect. Hello, everyone. Yeah, I can hear you now. Karen, lovely to see you. Hello, Bobby. I have a question for you on really your experience, your failures, your successes on launching a new product in an environment where you're going to also be using the geographics around you to sort of build a rush behind it. I just want to know how you've done that in the past and what you have done for a single product use. What has worked, what hasn't?
So using geographic around you? You mean like a local?
So using both online, but also leveraging our sort of city and so forth, and trying to create almost like a wave behind it, if you will.
I'm not sure I understand what assets you're talking.
I guess involving the community as well, from if it's other companies, if it's other nonprofits to sports teams, etc. I just want to know really if you've leaned on anything like that as well to help drive traffic behind your brand when you are bringing it to market in the beginning.
So you mean like brand ambassadors?
Essentially, yeah.
So I have a friend, not a supplement company, but I have a friend that owns a cigar brand, and he's done a fantastic job of creating that. And I super recommend just taking a look at his brand and what he's done. He's in Miami, and he literally has guys fly in from all around the country, all around the world, and they do events together. It's called Espinosa Cigars, and I'll throw it in the chat. And
Thank you, Karen.
these guys are just like amazing at, you know, pulling together a community, and like now they've got all these people promoting their cigars for free. So that, I think that's what you're asking. So if you take a look at what they've done and what their social media looks like, that might be helpful.
Yeah, and also
That would be very much so.
you could hire influencers to kind of promote your stuff as well. Just kind of treat them like affiliates or joint ventures. The other thing you can do or look into is launching more like a challenge, like a 30-day challenge, 90-day challenge kind of a thing, and building up a launch around that. Typically, my clients don't do that because they're just sort of, when you have a new offer and you're testing in cold traffic, there's certain like stages you go through, right? First, you test it with your in-house email list, see how you work out the kinks. Then you kind of build on the traffic slowly. You don't sort of open up the floodgates and bring 1 million visitors at once. So that's kind of opposite of what you're saying, is building that wake behind it, right? So typically it's not done that way for a couple reasons. One, to sort of mitigate risk. So you're not dumping a boatload of money into traffic that's not going to convert. You're testing a little, putting your toe in the water, seeing how it converts, making a few tweaks, putting your foot in the water, making a few tweaks, putting your whole leg in the water, etc. But you could do it as sort of like a challenge, a 30-day challenge, and build up awareness around that on social media and Facebook, and then kind of open up the product. So warm up the audience, get them excited about it, that it's coming, and then on the specific day, it goes live. So you're building your list that whole time. It could work. I'm not sure if it's...
Yeah. I mean, I think I've seen some of my clients get buy-in in terms of brand ambassadors. Like I have one client that I can't remember her product off the top of my head. I'm trying to remember. It had something to do with concussions, maybe. I don't know. It was something brain related, but she, you know, got the NFL involved and was like, you know, if I have a product that can help your players, would you be on board? And they're like, yeah, of course. And so, you know, she got buy-in that way, where there were people right off the bat that were willing to try the product, whether or not she was charging them, I don't know. She probably just gave it out. But you understand what I'm saying, where you can, you've got to really sit and create strategy. And I tell my clients this all the time. Strategy is like super important before you make any moves at all, is try to figure out where you're going with it, how to get there, who needs to do what, where, when, how, in order to make that strategy actually a reality. And then from there, that's where you create your marketing calendar, right? Here's what I'm doing on what date, who's responsible for it. But I find a lot of people jump in and create that marketing calendar of the who's doing what, where, when, or just have no marketing calendar and they just push stuff out whenever. I wouldn't recommend doing that. Definitely sit with strategy and figure out, because if you guys are young, you and Curtis have the energy and the you know, the vitality and the thoughts and the ideas and the creativity to really push this out in a way that probably people who are my age are going to be like, I'll look at that and say, yeah, that's for the birds. I don't have time for that. But you guys probably could go out and create events, very low cost, and interact with people and create buzz in the community. So if that's something that you're passionate about, I think you should, but definitely put it on paper first. If you guys want to link with me, I'll be happy to look at it, give my input, you know, give you some ideas.
Perfect. Yeah, so I guess I should have provided a little more background there. We have an influencer demographic and list already created and the strategy behind it. It's more about how we are going to actually launch that and create that. And if we make a delay based off of them pushing it out to the market for when we actually release it, so that way we can control our variables. That way we don't get X amount of orders and we only have X amount of product. So I was just curious on really how you brought certain individual products to market in the past. So thank you very much.
All right. Sadly, I'm going to have to end this. We're at the top of the hour. I want to thank everyone for attending. These were great questions, and we'll likely do this again. If we didn't get to you on this call, we can do another Q&A call. There will be a recording of this that'll go out to everybody afterwards, whether you attended or not. So you can also reach us there, and our contact info will be in there as well.
And this was great. Thanks everybody that helped on. And I saw a lot of you that didn't get a chance to ask a question or share, but hopefully it was helpful for all of you. Looking forward to the flood of emails and phone calls that will come after with the questions that you didn't ask in the group because you were shy. Always happy to help. Thanks guys. Have a nice day.
Thank you everyone.